The other big question is who's going to do this project for you? And several companies I know have sort of showed interest, everybody from an Intel to wide range of companies. What kind of interest, what kind of companies have shown interest, and what would be the criteria of choosing a company?
Well, actually there are two types of companies. One is companies who will provide technology for us. For example, companies will provide the server platforms or the client platforms. Companies will provide the biometric software. Companies will provide the biometric fingerprint readers. So that's one class of companies, and there are many companies out there. The second is who will run this application for us. So because we will be issuing an RFP and contracting the operation of this to a managed service provider. So that again, that typically is what you call as a systems integrator kind of a company. So we will see both classes of companies, and it will go through a very fair and transparent bidding process.
What is the deadline? The other thing about our country is, we introduce large schemes, but very few people know what the deadline is and when it's going to come. With you, the big hope is that there will be a fixed deadline and it will be met. What is the deadline then? Nandan?
Well, we have said that we will issue the numbers, the first set of numbers in 12 to 18 months. This is 12 to 18 months from August 12th, when the Prime Minister's Council approved our draft approach.
Correct.
And we have said we will have 600 million numbers
In that?
In 5 years from now, 5 to 5.5 years from now. So that's the target that we have set for ourselves. It's a very aggressive, very demanding, very punishing schedule. But we believe that we have to set aggressive targets if we have to get this off the ground.
And by when do you believe that India's roughly 1 billion people will actually?
No, that will take more time, because the last few 100 million will become more and more difficult, because they'll be in more inaccessible areas, they'll be on islands, they'll be in forests, they'll be in areas where law and order is a challenge. So the last few 100 million will take time. But we think that in the next few years, we'll be able to create enough of a critical mass and enough of a momentum for this, so that it will carry on and wrap up everybody into the system.
Tell me, Nandan, you think a lot about not just technology and the company you used to run before your present role, but also about the way or the direction in which India is headed. When a system like this is put in place, we're in a country which is grappling to bring about inclusive growth, the term that you used once again in the beginning of the interview, and large swaths of the country are now battling back the state, especially in the Maoist corridors of the state, because development clearly hasn't reached them in 60 years. And that's one of the key issues. In your mind, if you look at the broader picture, what will a scheme like this contribute to that greater vision?
No, absolutely. This is all about giving people who are on the margin of society a chance to participate in the society and the economy, because once people have identity, it will entitle them to public services, it will entitle them to get what they deserve. With the identity, if we can open a bank account, they can start getting money into the bank account, they can start getting direct benefits, they can participate in the economy. I mean, the UID is a foundation, a building block for many other things that will have a societal role.
Do you believe one of the critical problems of India has been, and this scheme perhaps will address that, is that a large swath of our country, it's people who really don't have an identity at all. I mean, we keep talking about large swaths of this country, we don't know what's happening there. Northeast, we don't know what's happening.
No, there are a lot of people in Delhi who don't have identity. So forget about going outside of Delhi. There are people here, migrants who have been in the city for many years, who don't have identity, and they're on the margin, they are in the shadows. They don't have access to public services, they don't have a ration card, they don't have a house. I mean, these are the people we need to help with these kind of things.
Since you mentioned house, do you now have a home
no,
in Delhi?
I'm also one of those.
In bureaucratic terms, as we come to the end of this interview, in bureaucratic terms, the biggest challenge in many people's mind is Nandan Nilekani is a really efficient man. He ran a supremely efficient world-class company. He's been put into this, he has no idea what he's got into. How will, once he gets into the role of, bureaucratic red tape, it'll just bog him down. That's the overwhelming sense, even in Delhi. What is the chances that sheer bureaucracy will bog down a scheme like that?
Well, I think, I recognize that there could be certain, impediments because of the impedance in the system. But I think, I've tried to take stock of this. I've tried to understand how it can come in the way, and what are the sort of externalities I should think about. And I'm now reasonably assured that we will be able to do what we set out to do, even when we are dealing with any challenges of that sort.
Are there privacy or privacy concerns?
Oh, absolutely. We will have to look at privacy. We'll have to look at what are the laws for privacy. Though that's not technically our concern, we'll have to promote a discussion on this because.
What are the privacy concerns essentially?
Well, basically, see, when you have large amounts of electronic data, then if that data can be used in the wrong way, either it can be used for invasion of your privacy, for surveillance, or for marketing to you, and so on.
How will you prevent that these things don't happen?
So that's part of our job. Part of our job is to come out with a technology, legal, and societal structure which puts the proper checks and balances in place.
And you're assuring essentially that this data, because a lot of people, in the cyber age, a lot of people are scared even to give, their credit card number onto the net. And when you put a number like this, we live in the age of incessant phone calls on our mobiles from people we don't know.
The same thing. We are not going to give this data out. All we are going to give from this system is a yes or a no. Right. So it's only a verification system.
At the end, RTI was another revolutionary idea that a lot of people adopted. Already we are seeing the state in some senses lashing back, and there's been a lot of criticism in the last few weeks about how the great RTI scheme is, there are these little dampeners that are coming onto the scheme legally, where the state is hitting back and refusing to share its secrets in some senses. What are the chances that the same rigmarole won't go through in the identity scheme?
No, I mean, this project is very complex and it's humongous. And so obviously there are a lot of challenges which we'll have. But at the end of the day, we think because this is going to deliver benefits to the poor of India, that's what is going to give it its strength, and that's what will make it stick.
How long you're going to be on the scheme for about 5 years? Is there a possibility that you will continue on the scheme for a decade?
I think let me focus. I have a lot of work to do in the next 5 years, so I'm not worrying about what happens after that.
Going away from your present role, a question that I wanted to ask you was, one of the questions about the Indian IT industry at the moment is, essentially it seems to be founded, a lot of people say Indian IT was founded on the low cost model. It could give efficient world class service at the lowest possible cost, but its comparative advantage was cost. We are fast coming to the age when that comparative cost advantage might not remain. In your mind, is that a key hurdle for the IT industry, and if yes, is the industry gearing up to take up the challenge to provide premium, high-value products?
No, absolutely. I think, of course, I'm a little distance now from the industry, but when I left it, there was a lot of innovation happening, new products, new ideas, new technologies, new platforms.
So the low-cost model is over?
No, there is tremendous innovation happening in the IT industry for sure, definitely. And a lot of things are happening which are very, very path-breaking, and I do hope to leverage some of those in this project.
Nandan Nilekani, thanks very much for your time and the very best of luck.
Thank you.
Delighted to see you in Delhi, and the very best of luck for your project.
Thank you so much.